Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. Today we're talking all about the name system announcement. Before we get started, just a quick reminder about our 10k sub giveaway as we approach a benchmark, 7,500. Now, once we get that far, it will be the members of Led's Legion, also known as my Patreon patrons, who will get to vote on which ship is going to be the one that's given away. If you want a voice in that decision, head on over to Patreon and sign up. Of course, if you want to win whatever they choose, make sure to be subscribed and comment on each video for a chance to be selected. Next week, I'll announce the February names for the drawing. So, what's in a name? Lore, personality, individualism, a sense of belonging or sentience. Now, this week is sure to ruffle a few feathers because CIG has introduced the framework that they will be releasing ship naming as well as the timeline for the first round of ships to get this treatment. So let's first cover how they're rolling this out. The first ships to receive their names in the verse will be the Hammerhead, the Reclaimer, the Carrack, the Star Runner, the 600i, and the 890 Jump. Now, I'm going to use the 600i as the example of the different wave dates here, but understand that the dates vary by the ship and when they were concepted and released. So, for example, for the 600i, on March 1st, those who purchase the ship in concept sale or are golden ticket holders will have first crack. This is the same across the board, whether it's the Star Runner, the 600i, or the Hammerhead. Wave 2 begins on March 8th, again for everybody. Specifically for the 600i, that means anyone who pledged for the ship in 2018, though for the Reclaimer, this would be anybody who purchased it post-concept in 2014, purchased it in 2015 or 2016. And then this group also involves concierge. So if you're concierge across the board, 3/8/2021 is when Wave 2 starts. That's when you get your opportunity to name any of these ships that you happen to own. The following week begins the 2019 pledge owners when we talk about the 600i. In the case of the Reclaimer would be the 2017 and 2018 pledges. After that are the most recent pledges of 2020 and in some cases 2019. I realize that's probably a little confusing, but hopefully the chart on screen gives you all a hand. There have been a lot of questions about buyback, melting, and so forth, so here's the rundown. The date is determined by when the ship went live inside your hangar. If you bought a 600i in 2018, and then you melted it, and then you bought it back last week, your pledge date is 2021. If you've had the 600i in your hangar since you bought it in 2018, your pledge date is 2018. This is the same for CCUs, so if you applied a CCU to a ship yesterday to make it a 600i, your pledge date is 2021. The date that you made the ship what it is when it comes to a CCU is the pledge date. Now, if you don't happen to have the ship in your hangar because it's still sitting in buyback, or you just own a CCU for it that's not been applied to anything, you're not in any of the waves. The same is true of ships purchased in the game. So, sadly, my 890 Jump will remain nameless, as I purchased it with credits in game. This is only, though, because the tool that's used to set the names is tied to the website, and ships purchased in game are part of a different database that could be wiped, which would lead to a lot of confusion on which names need to be recycled. CIG has already clarified that eventually you will be able to name ships purchased in game, just not in this first iteration. At present, you'll be able to rename at will. However, down the road, CIG does plan to limit this like account naming, where, after you rename it once, for example, you might have to pay to rename the ship again. Now, CIG has said that this is because they want ship names to have value, and not just be whatever meme is popular today or whatever slapdash thing you come up with on the fly. So it should be no surprise then the amount of salt that has flown over this, because it turns out only one 600i owner can name theirs the Millennium Falcon. At the end of the day, I don't really have a problem with that, but that's me. I know many of you watching are very upset about the unique naming issue, and you have plenty of right to be upset. Now, each ship does have a unique serial number, which corresponds to the serial number every pledge already has identifying it in the database. Which means when a pledge, I mean ship, has been sold to another player, you can track the history of the ship even though it can be renamed. This has led to many calls that since the number is unique, the name shouldn't have to be. CIG's take thus far, though, has been that if the names are not unique, it removes the pride and thought that goes into the name, and I personally don't disagree. Yes, there will be plenty of Leet-spelled falcons out there, but plenty of Leet names will exist anyways as players try to get around the profanity filter. Sure, there are some very iconic names from the legions of science fiction that have come before us, but the idea here is to create a new one. As one Spectrum individual named theirs, the fame that follows the Kraken, Loot Pinata 3, can only happen if there's a single Kraken of this name. These will be the names that appear on your HUD on scan, or just in general, and if there are 10 Enterprises docked at Olisar, it will be very unclear which is the one you need to blow up in revenge for that one time you finally got a full cat of Laranite only to be shot down leaving the mine. Never mind that a name like that also makes you an automatic target for any Klingon or Star Wars lover out there who wants to kill you on sight just because. This has always been a feature we were told we would have, and in the case of the 600i, as well as the Corsair and a few others, we got to reserve names already, and we have thus far had unique naming, and it hasn't ruined anything. Sure, you don't get to name your MSR the Millennium Falcon like everyone else wants to, but at least you get to name it. Before all of us is a choice. Be excited we finally get to name our ships and make them individuals, or be upset that a handful of names won't be available. I've seen incredible names players have come up with already on Spectrum, some that are insightful, others that make you laugh out loud. This is an incredible chance to show your personality in the verse. As I said though, that is my personal opinion, and I know some of you are far more vested in exploring in a Carrack named Enterprise, and you have every right to want that. You can always prefix it with designations like HMS, USS, KMS, etc. There's also org prefixes out there. There's over 100 ships in Star Citizen, which means there will be over 100 Fireflies. The most important takeaway is this. If you really want non-unique naming, the place isn't the comment section of this video, though you should share your reasons down there so others may add them to their reasons. But get on Spectrum. Let CIG know. The first 6 ships are a test of the tech, but they're also a test of the rules. If this is truly unpopular enough, CIG will change it. Remember hover mode and ATC splines? So like I said, you can complain to me all you want, but it's not going to change anything because I don't have the power to change it. But I do love talking to you guys in the comments section, so please do head down there and let me know what you think. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you all next time.